When a wealthy judge walked into his daughter's room, he expected to find her studying, but instead, he froze. She wasn't in his arms, she was in the arms of their housekeeper. What he discovered in that moment shook his world, and revealed a truth far more powerful than wealth or status. This is HB Vibes, your home for shocking and emotional war stories. Hit like, smash that subscribe, and let's dive into the drama. The Carter estate was a sight of grandeur, polished marble floors, chandeliers imported from Europe, and hallways so wide they could pass from museum galleries. Judge William Carter, one of the most respected men in the state, lived here with his only daughter, Emily. From the outside, his life looked perfect, a successful career, a mansion that spoke of wealth, and a name everyone recognized. But that evening, when he returned home earlier than expected, William's world quietly shifted. He climbed the long staircase, briefcase still in hand, intending to surprise Emily. She had been quieter than usual at breakfast, and a father's instinct told him something wasn't right. As he pushed open her bedroom door, he froze mid-step. Inside, Emily was sobbing uncontrollably in the arms of Grace, their longtime housekeeper. Grace held her with the tenderness of a mother, stroking her hair, whispering soft words of comfort. Emily clung to her desperately, burying her face in Grace's shoulder. The judge stood there silently, his usually sharp eyes clouded with confusion. His daughter didn't even notice he was there. She didn't run to him for comfort. She didn't cry in his arms. Instead, she sought solace in someone else's. For a man who commanded courtrooms with his presence, William Carter suddenly felt powerless. The next morning, the air in the mansion was heavy. Emily barely touched her breakfast. She kept her head down, poking at her food, while Grace hovered nearby, silently making sure she had everything she needed. William watched from across the long dining table, frustration mixing with concern. "Emily," he began gently, "is something troubling you?" Emily's fork clinked against the plate. She nodded quickly, avoiding his eyes. "I'm fine, Dad." Grace glanced at the judge, then at Emily. She knew the girl wasn't fine. She had seen the tears, heard the whispered fears at night, and felt the weight of Emily's loneliness firsthand. For months, Emily had been struggling. Though she had every comfort money could buy, her heart longed for something her father's busy schedule rarely provided: time, attention, and warmth. Grace had noticed long ago. She had become the listener, the hug, the steady presence Emily needed. To Emily, Grace wasn't just an employee. She was the person who made the mansion feel like a home. Over the following days, William couldn't shake the image of Grace comforting Emily. It played in his mind like a scene from a play he couldn't understand. During dinner, he noticed Emily smiling faintly only when Grace passed by to serve. When Grace walked into the room, Emily's shoulders relaxed. When she left, Emily's face fell back into quiet sadness. It stung him more than he cared to admit. One evening, William lingered in the kitchen after Emily went to bed. Grace was wiping down the counters, her movements calm and unhurried. "Grace," he said suddenly. She looked up, startled. "Yes, sir." He hesitated, uncharacteristically unsure of his words. "Why is my daughter? Why does she lean on you so much?" Grace's hands stilled. She lowered her eyes, torn between respect for her employer and loyalty to the girl who trusted her heart with her. For years, she had served this family faithfully. But now, silence felt like betrayal. Still, she only said softly, "Because she needs someone, sir." William frowned. "She has me." Grace's eyes lifted, gentle but firm. "Does she?" That night, William sat alone in his study, unable to let go of Grace's words. The silence of the mansion pressed in on him. Finally, unable to bear the weight of not knowing, he returned to Grace the next day. "Tell me," he demanded, though his tone carried more desperation than authority. "Why does Emily run to you instead of me?" Grace folded her hands, her face calm though her heart beat fast. "Because, sir, she feels invisible." William stiffened. Grace continued gently. "Emily cries at night, not because she doesn't love you, but because she feels you are far away even when you're here. She tells me she misses her father. She misses talking to you, laughing with you, sharing the small things. She misses the warmth of home." Each word pierced him. He had been so consumed with his role as a judge, with maintaining his status, that he hadn't seen the loneliness growing inside his daughter. Grace added, "I only stepped in because I couldn't watch her struggle alone." For the first time in years, William felt his composure crumble. The gavel he wielded in court, the titles, the wealth, all of it meant nothing compared to the revelation that his daughter felt unseen. That night, sleep eluded him. Memories of his late wife flooded back, the warmth in her voice, the way she would sit with Emily for hours, listening to every childish story with patience. Before she passed, she had told him once, "Promise me you'll be there for Emily. She needs more than money, she needs you." He had promised, but somewhere along the path of ambition, he had broken that promise. William stared at a photograph of his wife and daughter, his chest tightening with regret. He finally understood what Grace had meant. He had given Emily everything except the one thing she craved most, his presence. And now, it was not too late, but it would take effort to mend what was broken. The following weekend, William made a choice that surprised Emily. Instead of leaving early for the office, he invited her to breakfast on the garden patio. He asked about her favorite books, her school projects, and even the music she loved. At first, Emily answered cautiously, unsure if his interest was real or temporary. But as the days went by, she noticed small changes. He sat beside her during dinner instead of at the far end of the long table. He joined her in board games. He walked her to the park, laughing when she beat him in a silly race. Emily's guarded heart slowly opened. One evening, she leaned against him on the sofa, whispering, "I miss this, Dad." His throat tightened, and he wrapped an arm around her. "So did I, sweetheart. More than you know." Grace watched quietly from the hallway, her eyes glistening with relief. She had not replaced Emily's father, she had only held the place open until he returned. Months later, the Carter mansion felt different. Laughter echoed in the halls. Emily's joy filled the rooms like sunlight. One evening, William asked Grace to join them in the living room. Standing with Emily by his side, he looked at Grace with gratitude in his eyes. "Grace," he said, his voice steady but full of emotion, "you have been more than an employee. You've been family. You gave Emily what I failed to give when she needed it most. I will never forget that." Grace bowed her head humbly. "I only did what was right, sir." Emily reached out, holding both their hands. "We're a family, all of us," she said softly. Tears threatened William's eyes as he realized the truth. His wealth, his power, his reputation, all of it was meaningless compared to the bond now uniting them. For the first time in years, he felt whole. And he understood why that first moment had frozen him in place. Because in the arms of Grace, his daughter had found the love he had forgotten to give. And in witnessing that love, he found the courage to reclaim his place as a father. If you felt the heartbeat of this story, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to HB Vibes, where every story carries a lesson for the soul.